Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Dr. Sean Tierney, and this is my review of Lessons in Dissent. I realize my reviews are usually pretty flippant, humorous, or downright insulting. But, you know, you go with your strengths. Besides, part of the reason for that is me, and part of it is the movies. Iceman! Sorry. But every now and then, I see a movie that makes me think the nicest thing I could do for it would be to not talk about it. Some movies just shouldn't have this done to them. Lessons in Dissent is one of those movies. But it's so interesting and recommendable that I'm actually going to try and do a serious review. Lessons in Dissent is a documentary about two young people in Hong Kong. Joshua Wong started a group called Scholarism to oppose national education, a program that would have introduced a mandatory block of content teaching Hong Kong students to love China and the Communist Party. I'm not going to go into the issue, but you could look it up yourself, or even better, watch Lessons in Dissent. It quickly becomes clear why Joshua and a lot of other Hong Kong people wanted no part of this Orwellian farce. Did I say that? Or just think it? When you watch Lessons in Dissent and you hear some of the things that are in the curriculum, you'll either laugh or cry. Especially when C.Y. Leung, Hong Kong's chief executive, says that all Western nations have national education. The other young man featured in Lessons in Dissent is named Ma Zai, who dropped out of school in order to take a more active role in Hong Kong's social movements. Joshua is the media darling, and Ma Zai is more behind the scenes. He does a lot of the so-called grunt work that people often overlook, like printing banners, putting up signs, handing out flyers, or working overnight to prepare a site where a protest will take place the next day. The documentary follows them through a series of events in 2012, including the national education issue and protest, the June 4th memorial, the July 1st march, and the election of chief executive, where in a city of 7 million people, only 689 get to vote, and this guy won a little over half. But I digress. Sometimes the film feels a little bit long. There's a reason most documentaries tend to be about an hour or less. But by the end of the movie, I realized that all that time is necessary so that they could put everything in there that they do, because that way, when you get to the end of the movie, you understand it much more. There is, or at least was, a view that Hong Kong young people were only really worried about school and only really cared about video games or other distractions from studying. So to watch this movie and see these two young people, and a lot of other young people around them, taking such an active role in voicing the opinions of Hong Kong people, and getting so deeply involved into the process, really made me happy. Lessons in Dissent is a very interesting movie. It's also a good way to learn about some of the pressing issues here in Hong Kong. I strongly recommend watching this movie. Try and see it in the cinema. I admit it's not easy because it's not playing many places, but you really should. Hopefully there'll be a DVD release fairly soon, and that way we can put it in the description and you can buy one. I definitely think you should do that. If you enjoyed this review, please leave me a comment. If you didn't enjoy the review, please leave me a comment. If you enjoy the channel, please think about subscribing, but be aware that this review is actually pretty unique compared to the other ones. I guess if there is any point at which I could revert to my usual self in this review, it's this. When scholarism became popular and gained momentum, one of the local television stations, I won't say what their name is, but the initials are ATV, ran a program saying that the national education issue had two sides, a constructive side and a destructive side. Guess which side scholarism and other opponents were on? Even worse, they said that scholarism was just a group of naive young people being manipulated by forces under the shadow of Washington and London. Who writes this shit? I think ATV was under the shadow of Beijing. I also think that ATV, the CCP, and national education can all make like a squirrel and smell my nuts.